Is Al Sham here?
Yes. Okay, we are live on YouTube. Jack, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks everyone for coming to the second November 2025 Traffic and Transportation Committee meeting. We have three items on the agenda. The first is a sidewalk cafe application for Al Sham. Second one, we will be reviewing community comments and soliciting comments for the IBX environmental review. Comments are due by Wednesday, end of day. And then thirdly, there are three intro laws for community council or city council that's being introduced. We'll be looking over those and see if we can gather some comments here and what our committee thinks on those. So without further ado, I'll share. Okay, Josephine. Cool.
Okay. So Al Sham, they are here tonight, a restaurant located at 7701 Fifth Avenue. They have submitted an application for a sidewalk cafe with 7 tables and 14 seats, with setups on both Fifth Avenue and 77th Street. Al Sham has been operating at this location since 2018, so 7 years. The district office did receive community complaints about the application following public notice, primarily concerning the issues that the business had with the management of their garbage. Over the past 3 years, there have been 31 311 complaints for this location regarding trash disposal, cleanliness, as well as rodents. During the most recent Department of Health rat inspection in January of this year, rat activity was found. So they provided a layout of the sidewalk cafe. Again, the application is for 4 tables on 77th Street with 8 seats and 3 tables on 5th Avenue with 6 seats. The hours of operation for Al Sham is Sunday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Just going to stop my share there. And the district office did receive a letter from a neighbor in opposition, and we did receive 2 phone calls, again concerned with wanting the committee to address cleanliness, and there was also mention about double parking, but most of the complaints that we received had to do with the storage of trash in relationship to the application. So I guess I'll turn it back to you, Jack, and then we can speak to the owners are here on Zoom.
Yeah, so okay. So it's actually surprisingly rare to see this many 311 complaints, and especially this many 311 complaints about trash very specifically in either sidewalk or roadway cafe applications. So I just wanted you to tell us and explain like what's going on with that situation, just so we understand that a little bit more before we potentially dive in, because that's, it's a major concern from the community.
Okay, so let me introduce myself. I'm not the owner. I'm the accountant. I'm assisting my client and translating for him. My name is Nasser Hajawi. And this is Mr. Samer and Abdul Halim, and he is the owner of the business. And I will just translate your questions to him and try to relay the answers back in English. So you were wondering about you said about the complaints regarding the trash.
Yes.
near the
احنا جبنا حاوية كبيرة ماشي صار وقلها بتسكر لها قطع
اوكي
بس انا احط كل شيء زبالة بقلبها بتسكر بيجوا هن بفضوا قلب السيارة في شركة بتيجي تاخذها وبتضل ماشية.
طيب وشو وانت بتقول لي انه في واحد هو نفسه اللي بضل يعمل نفسه؟
في واحد نفسه هذا بيكرهنا بشكل عام ماشي. هذا كان دائما يعني حتى مرة اجى عندي على المحل عم يخبط وما كان في شيء برا. قلت له شبك قال لي هيك طريقته كثير همجية.
هو نفسه اللي بضل يحكي معنا.
هو نفسه دائما.
Okay. So 2 things. The first thing is that there's one neighbor.
Yeah.
There's one neighbor that seems to have an issue with who they are and the business. and he keeps coming and banging on the glass and screaming at them. And also, it seems like he's the one that's making the vast majority, if not all, of these complaints. The other thing is that they did put a big container outside that is locked, and they put the trash cans in it. And then when the garbage company comes in, they open it and empty the trash. So there's no trash, no bags outside anymore. Everything is held in a big container.
Is it possible to verify whether 311 complaints are coming from multiple sources? I'm just curious on that. And like within the last year, is it just happened to be like one person? I mean, still a very valid complaint, if there are multiple complaints outside from one
Right.
person.
Yeah, Jack, we did go back and look in our complaint log. We did receive complaints from more than one person on this application as far as the storage of trash. The city, we do not see complainant information, nor are we permitted as a board to disclose complainant information, but I can say it was more than one person. Additionally, the Department of Health did confirm rat activity at the location, meaning that there, certainly is evidence of rodent information, which can be, rodent visible, or evidence of rodent visible. So making sure that trash
المحل كلياته سيراميك من جوا.
is, contained and sealed and, would
أنا
really
كسرت
help
المحل
that,
كله
especially now. Oh, I'm sorry.
كسرت
Yeah.
المحل كله عملت كله
Um,
سيراميك.
Yeah, let me just, I just muted you for one. I just want to finish, explaining that the rules, from sanitation do permit the storage of containerized, you have to keep it in containers, sealed containers. You can't have bags on the street. You are permitted to have containers on the street that store both that store your materials for your private carting to be picked up. Some restaurants pick it up daily, some once a week. I don't know what your schedule is, but I think, from the complaints, I think I would like to see too, is that you maintain the storage of your trash. And if you need more collections, that would help. And it seems that you want to have the sidewalk cafe along the side street where you store your trash. So perhaps keeping it or having more collections might be a good way to deal with some of the concerns from the community, as well as, what we're seeing reported by the agencies. Jack?
Yeah. That last comment that you made there around the trash can, I'm looking at the maps right now, and like it's pretty substantially sized. I see that. And the fact that like, you're asking for a sidewalk cafe along that route is a little confusing. Like, I get it, maybe onto the avenue, but on the street it's a little confusing. Maybe you can explain that a little bit. And then I'll also open up to committee comments, so feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions or comments. But yeah, if you can address that a little bit, like why ask for both sides of the streets here?
So هو عم بيسألك أنت بدك تحط الكونتينر على السايد ستريت.
كونتينر شو؟
التراش
محطوط جنب المطبخ دغري هيك شو هونيك.
محطوط جنب المطبخ؟
انه في عندك البيس المدخل تبع البيسمنت تبع البنايه.
اوكي.
بعده في ارنيه للمحل حيط محطوط هون الكونتينر.
الكونتينر فين؟
اوكي. وبعدين مشان الفيران انا كسرت البلاط وكسرت الحيطان والسقفيه كلياتها وعملت كلياتها بلاط وسيراميك والسقفيه عملتها كلياتها شيترا.
Okay, so as far as the container, the trash container is concerned, that's not going to be where the seating will be. There's a door in there, and there's an extension of the store behind that, like past that door. So that's where the container is going to be. I don't have the diagram in front of me here, but if you can show the schematics, maybe we can point where the.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, so there is room still, even with the sidewalk cafe seating and tables, there is plenty of room for the container past that. So that should not be an issue. As far as the rat complaint, the store was completely renovated last year. with ceramic tiles and شو الحيطان؟
هيبقى بس سيراميك كلياتها
حتى الحيطان؟
هيطلع كله سيراميك.
Even the like the walls also were done in ceramic tiles, so there is no room for any rodents or any activities like that, and the ceiling was also completely renovated. So in order to take care of any of these issues, I don't know when the
Okay.
most recent DOH complaint was, but
Well, can you clarify when you started containerizing and when that renovation was done?
اوكي متى عملت الرينوفيشن تبع حطيت التايلز والشغلات هاي؟
تقريبا من شيء 2022
على قد
22
زمان هذا الحكي.
23 2023
بعديها ما اجاك وخلف باي شهر تقريبا؟
برمضان كان
يعني ابريل or May؟
May no April
around April 2023. That's the renovation. الكونتينرز متى حطيتهم؟
الكونتينرز حطيته من like before 2 months 3 months 2 months. Yeah.
2 months. The container, they started using the container about 2 months ago.
Okay. I guess I'm a little confused because the image I'm seeing on Google Maps was in November 2024, and it showed a pretty large container. So that's confusing of a timeline. What container that is that existed there, but I can leave that to rest for now.
كان في كونتينر تاني برضه؟
كان في أول شيء كان عامل مثل أنا عامل حاويات زبالة كل زبالة عامل عليهم خشب مشان الزبالة. بعدين شلتهم كلياتهم وحطيت كونتينر كبير مسكر.
No, that's nothing.
I'm sorry, what's the black dot on, we're having a question. What's this black dot? I can't see. Is that air conditioning?
Where's the trash can?
Let me see if I can zoom into the copy I
Well,
have.
so from the images, that black dot is an air duct, the metallic air duct.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I walked by there on the way over here tonight, and it's exactly as you see in the diagram. There's the air duct, and then there's a a big commercial trash container right next to it.
Hi.
Okay. I've monopolized some of the time here, so I'm gonna open up to the committee here. So I see.
Oh,
I see Stephanie has her hand.
Yeah, Josephine, can you clarify, the rat complaint was made this year, January 2025?
The last rat inspection was January of 2025, and it demonstrated positive for rat activity.
Okay, so that was after the renovation, well after. And the other question regarding when they say rat activity, does that mean indoors and outdoors or both, or?
On the map, it said outdoors.
Okay, so specifically outdoors. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Dina?
Yeah, I've never seen this many 311 complaints. So I do find that a little suspicious, just right off the bat. But also, if you look at all these complaints, they've been closed. And from what I can see, there's only a handful of summonses issued. Everything was closed. Department of Sanitation investigated the complaint, found no violation at the location, blah, blah, blah. A lot of these were closed without any summons, without any basically they were unsubstantiated. So it just kind of seems like somebody has it out against this business, or maybe a group of neighbors. You said it was more than one person. Do we know how many? If it's 2, 3?
Yeah, Dino, I don't know from 311. We don't have access to 311 data, but I can tell you that CB10 received 3 complaints over the last 3 separate people over the last 2 years. Specific to the trash, there was a photo that was included in one of the complaint letters, and I've seen the trash there in the past that wasn't secured or contained, I should say containerized. And I think when you don't have trash that's containerized, you have a more likelihood of insects, animals, people going through it and, delving into it. There
But
is now.
they're currently in compliance with containerization laws, right? Because every business has to containerize their trash.
Yes, every
Yeah.
business has to containerize. So what I'm looking at right now is I do see a blue container, and there's also storage of, I'm sure it is residential trash. That's also on the side of the building. And I see some brown containers. I don't see it all containerized. I don't see residential containers on the in the photo that I have. But I mean, that could be part of the issue too, is that it's, in addition to the commercial trash, there's residential trash that's stored on the side. So that could be it as well.
I would just think that if there were too many violations,
بس احنا ما عندنا زباله برا
that it would be reflected in the 311 data, which it just doesn't seem like it is, at least unless I'm missing something. And then I've worked in a lot of restaurants. If these people really had a rat infestation, they would be shut down in a second. They wouldn't be open. So yeah, there's just something worth looking into more about.
Right. I think on the rat portal that when you have rat activity, it's on the exterior of the building. And we do have that, I could tell you, in the 70s in Bay Ridge right now. We have some areas that we've had, rat sightings on the street.
Thank you, Dana. Chris?
Question. I noticed that there is from the Google Street View, there's a installed bench, from the city. Will that impact in any way the clearance between the seating on Fifth Avenue? I'm thinking not, because it looks like it's recessed back to where a hydrant would be. There are two benches, and it also looks like the street, the sidewalk's been recently repaved and updated. But I will make one comment in addition to the question about whether or not the street benches impact the clearance, that in general, there are rats sittings all over. And, it's hard to kind of pinpoint where they're coming from. I'm always dismayed at just the trash I see on 4th and 5th Avenue in general. I was on 5th Avenue today visiting a doctor. I've lived in Brooklyn all my life, and not all, I'm not singling anyone out here, but, not all merchants are equal, and not all of them keep their sidewalks clean. I wish we were back in a day when that was a priority for all merchants. But yeah, but I was just concerned about the bench and the seating, like seeing that, like, will that, be tighten the clearance in between, passersby and whatever seating is put out on the avenue.
My understanding is that if it's part of the street furniture, it almost acts like, the lamppost, the hydrants, like it needs to be the same clearance as those items. Okay, any other questions from the committee? Any questions in the room? I haven't seen any hands yet so far.
Nope, there's no hands. I just want to mention Jack was joined by Assembly Member Lester Chang, is in the room. Thank you.
Welcome to committee.
Okay. Staley has.
I'll just give one thing. Like I was saying, I did go by and just take a look at the establishment on the way over here. There is a container there. The container is not a locked container, right? So I believe that's a requirement that food needs to be stored in a secure container. It's definitely not. In fact, when I walked by, it was like wide open. And there's also a bunch of, I didn't see rats or anything, but there were, there's also like a bunch of cardboard boxes that, had food in them before that's just like dumped outside of the container. So, I mean, what you guys are seeing on the Google Street View is essentially, I think, what it looks like, at least right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't pull up Google Street View. Oh, Romeo, do you have a question?
Yeah, I hate that. My connection works, but I did walk past the restaurant on the way here to the subway, and the container is open, and there is garbage next to it.
Yeah, this is that's exactly now, right?
Just from 5 minutes ago.
Okay, thank you.
Other than that, I have no questions.
Okay.
But that's not a good omen.
Yeah. So I guess can the owner / accountant like address that comment? Like,
في عندك شيء بدك تحكيه؟
هلا مشان المناظر اللي برا، انا المحل كلياته نظفته وظبطته، ويعني حابب بس اعمل منظر برا يكون حلو ومرتب.
بس هم بيحكوا انه في اكل كان على
لا لا ما بقى في شيء
اليوم
لا اليوم مستحيل. مستحيل، لازم العالم كابين برا، بس نحن عم ننظف اول باول.
So no, but he's saying that they're very. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So they're very committed to making sure that the inside and the outside of the store are always clean. Now, sometimes people would take some food outside and just throw it, maybe eat it outside and just leave the trash there. His workers try to every now and then just go outside, take a look and clean things up, but he can't be there 24/7 and to remove the stuff that people dump there. But as far as keeping the area clean, that container that they have now, usually it's doing the job, and it's different than the one that's on the Google Maps. It's not really a container, it's more than like a plastic shed. So that's not what's in there now. Right now there's a commercial metal container, right? It's a metal.
Yeah.
Commercial metal container that's in there. And it was
job.
provided by the carting company for them. So, and again, from the inside, the store is kept in mint conditions. They made sure to, when they renovated, to put all the tiles so there is no room for rats or anything like that. And, they improved the business a lot in the last couple of years. So.
Is metal vent going to be there?
Oh, I just went out of it. Steve had a question about the vent, the metal vent.
Yeah, the sheet metal vent. Is that going to be there? And what is it vent?
Let me see. Look at the picture. On the diagram, it looks like it's gonna stay. Let me see what that is for. تعرف هاي الفنت لإيش؟
هي تبع ال
Oh, this vent here?
What is it venting?
AC, that's the AC?
AC والهيتر.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is for the AC and the heating unit, yeah.
So
that would
not-
stay there.
yeah, but is that going to be
With a table?
inside, by the cafe?
It's past that. There is a door or there's a cellar access door in between.
Hatch.
Yeah.
The hatch is right there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by the hatch. I'm trying to find out
Okay.
where is the vent on that diagram?
It's on the other side.
Trust me, it's a little
You know, go down a little bit more.
No, the other.
No. Okay, that's the black
Here?
dot, the
That's the
black
hatch.
circle there, yeah.
Where's the vent?
No, that diamond structure, that's the hatch.
The diamond is the hatch.
The diamond is the hatch.
Yeah, so where's the
It
vent?
points to the hinge.
Steve.
We're talking about the mechanic, where it says mechanical unit, is that?
I know where it is on there. I want to know where. It's not on that map. Why is it not on the map?
Outside.
It's outside of the scope.
Yeah, it's outside
Yeah.
where the chairs are going.
It's not where the chairs
The
are.
chairs are stopping at the access to the basement.
Right.
So, sorry, where's the trash can gonna go? I'm very confused by this diagram. So you have the hatch, so the trash cans can't go there. You have the vent, so the trash can can't go there.
It's going past the vent, Jack. It's not on that map
It's
anywhere.
outside of the diagram.
It's
It's outside
outside.
of the diagram. The
Yeah.
trash section is outside of that diagram.
Yeah.
Correct.
They can make
هي البيسمنت.
وين الفنت؟
هي البيسمنت.
shield the wall large enough that it can cover over the vent.
هي البيسمنت.
Okay.
هذا الاي
Okay.
Yeah.
ورا الزباله دغري.
Oh, so he just showed me a picture. I don't know if we can upload the picture, but
Down to the ground is low concrete. So.
I'm sorry, did you want to upload a picture?
Yeah,
yeah,
please
can we
upload a
do
picture.
that?
You can do it. Yes, you have permission. You can share.
Just to describe what I'm seeing from Google Maps right now is that right past the vent is a door. So the trash can't go there.
Okay, so that's the AC unit there, and the trash can goes past that. It's there. I could see it in the picture. But let me see if I can upload the picture somehow.
That's the AC.
That's the AC,
That's the issue with this.
that area up there.
That area that isn't shown on the diagram.
Right.
It's doable.
Because that's not
It's
what
not.
the cafe
It's not
is.
shown. Yeah.
I know, but what is the venting
Dogs and cats.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
He said air conditioning. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the outside AC unit. Let me see how I can do this.
Okay, that's okay.
Now, that's different from the
Yeah.
different from the sun.
Yeah, I see the outside AC unit, but that's not how AC units are installed, unfortunately, the giant vent. Okay, Stephanie, you've had a hand raised, so feel free to open your question as they're trying to upload this picture.
Okay, Josephine, the resident complaints, are those recent?
The resident complaints to CB10?
Yes.
No, the last complaints we received were the end of 24.
Okay,
Yeah,
the letter that was written,
That was a result of public notice, the letter that was sent out.
okay, and if I recall correctly, I mean, most of it did chronicle what's events in the past, but he did acknowledge that there's a container now for the garbage, but I don't recall if there were still ongoing issues. I'm just having trouble reconciling the complaints and or what the owner is saying with the complaints, because we have listened to so many applicants. I mean, over the years, I have never really, literally, this is the first time I've ever heard of so many complaints plus a rat complaint. And that's what concerns me. But thank you very much.
Jane, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I just wanted to again reiterate things that have been mentioned as well. We know that this has a very high number of complaints. We know that we are looking at this in terms of the sidewalk cafe and making sure that the complaints that have happened are being addressed. I don't think that when we're looking at this, as it was pointed out, we don't see any plan right now as to how the garbage is going to be contained. And that's really where the rat problems always seem to originate. And so it would be short-sighted to just look at this and exclude that piece of the puzzle. This is a very important piece that the owner and his representatives need to be aware of, that this is the complaint that your neighbors have gotten. If we're extending the part for seating to the side of the restaurant as indicated in that drawing, and there's no place for where the garbage, which would normally be in a part of that section, is going to go, then it may actually be going closer to the neighbors who have had already expressed frustration and trouble with the garbage and the amount, and the concern over the rats. So I really think that needs to be presented to the committee in order for us to fully understand the owner's point of view. Thank you.
Staley has a question, Jack?
One more comment. I mean, just to sort of add on to what's already been said, but I also think that we we have a serious obligation to other businesses in the area as well. And the problem I have with seeing complaints about food storage and rodents and so forth is that if those continue, it kind of ruins it for other businesses, right? Other businesses that want to have outdoor seating are I think are gonna lose business if one of their neighboring businesses has a rat running across the table in their outdoor dining area, right? So I think we have to think about the impact on the businesses around them as well. And in my opinion, I think we're taking a pretty big chance in letting them build out this outdoor space. If it goes wrong and they continue to have these kind of complaints, it's going to create problems for everybody in the area.
Steve?
I have to agree. That doesn't mean they can't come back and make the application after they have
these problems addressed.
Yes.
And because they are serious problems. And believe me,
Yeah.
I know that. So
Yeah. I was just re-looking at our stipulations. We do have one line on pest and rodent control, but I think we should potentially want to strengthen that moving forward as well. Okay, Chris.
Oh.
I was just going to ask Josephine, do the bids help guide merchants in areas like this, like offer like sort of a technical assistance or something like that to help them? I mean, because
Yeah.
I don't want to single anyone out. I'm not as familiar with the complaints. You know, I mean, I know we're assessing what we're being given and everything, but you know, for me, just in general, it's a general thing for me that I feel like our avenues are really have trash issues. And I actually feel for the merchants because I know how difficult it is for them to do business. It doesn't help when their customers leave their trash on the street either. And so I kind of feel like it's a much larger issue than that, where we have a responsibility to somehow find ways to offer the technical assistance that will help not just the individual merchants, but the avenue itself maintain cleanliness. I mean, years ago, we didn't need bids because they weren't necessary. Merchants were able and customers were able to keep their streets clean, it seems. And I don't know if maybe we need to kind of reinvigorate that it's a mutual thing, that you won't have businesses if they're driven out of business by fines, excessive fines and things like that. I mean, I think we have to really, I agree with Staley and I agree with everyone else and Jane Marie, we have to be a little bit more, you know, I don't know. I'm just expressing a frustration, but I feel for, I think it's a really important point, you know, that I feel for all the merchants because it's hard enough to do business in the city as it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can kind of feel that frustration and I'm wondering if we can brainstorm further on the partnerships that we have to bring to bear on all of this.
Yeah, you know, Chris, that's a great point. Just from the district office perspective, you know, oftentimes when we have new businesses come in, we do have Department of Sanitation go out and give some guidance and explain what the rules are, et cetera. And I think we still have that to our avail, both at the agency level, can certainly work with Al-Sham and take a look at some of the, you know, maybe some of the challenges of trash storage, because the rules did change about a year or so ago, where storage is now, you know, allowed and permitted on the sidewalk. And just, I mean, there are challenges to that as well. I mean, it should be locked. There shouldn't be, you know, spillage and overage, et cetera. Fifth Avenue does have a business improvement district. They do provide supplemental cleaning, sweeper cleaning on the avenue throughout the bid district. And this restaurant is located within that bid district. So certainly, I think those are two really good resources where we could collaborate with Al-Sham and work on this to move forward. Because, you know, he has been a restaurant here for 7 years. I mean, this is an issue that's been, and I'd like to see it worked on. And I'm sure that we can, you know, come together and I'm happy to help facilitate that with both the bid and the Department of Sanitation, which does have a community affairs unit. It's a citywide unit. And they do provide outreach and education. I don't know what's in the form of materials these days, but and certainly at the local level, there's a sanitation district that perhaps can, you know, assist with this. We do have some time on this application because it's about 30 days, and we calendared it because we had this meeting set and thought it was a good opportunity to get it on the calendar. But we do have to issue, I think, a recommendation by the 15th
Yeah.
of December, because we won't have enough time for the January meeting.
Right.
Which,
So I don't think we currently have a calendared meeting on the calendar first 2 weeks of December, but happy to schedule one if the owner comes up with a follow-up plan. That being said, I think the best course of action for now is to have a motion to deny the application, potentially without stipulations. You know, we can discuss as a committee, and then pending that plan, come back to us and amend that motion for the general board presentation.
oops.
Or-
Are you seconding the motion?
No.
Is that a motion, Jack? I'm sorry, was that,
They may-
he made a motion
Yeah, I motion to deny this application without stipulation.
Without prejudice to bring,
to come back to,
Yes, to come back to us within the next, I guess, like 3 weeks or so. Obviously, we'll calendar that as soon as we can before the December meeting, after which we will vote on it as a general board.
can I just make just a small change to that, Jack? Instead of saying that we deny the application, say that we postpone this for 3 weeks or whatever, for them to come back to address the issues. Because I don't want it to be said that we're saying no, because we're not yet. Under your circumstances, I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's a good way to handle it. It's
Yeah.
just the language that bothers me.
I see. So if we postpone it, we can calendar a meeting, and then at that meeting we can decide to say no if they don't have a plan at that point in time.
Is there
Happy to
any
do that.
are there any time constraints or anything that would prevent us from doing that?
no, we have just until December 15th.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I would like to make that motion with that change.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Discussion,
Stanley.
yes. So I disagree with waiting 3 weeks, because I think we need to see more than a plan. I think we need to see whether the 311 complaints and complaints to the office subside or if they continue, right? It's been a pattern for years. And I think we need to give it, I would say, at least 6 months to see if there's any change. Which still gives them plenty of time to apply ahead of the summer, if we want to wait 5 or 6 months.
Remind you, this is the holiday season, man, 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, the problem with that is that the application will still continue to move forward in the process. So we'll issue a recommendation, it'll be voted on December, it then continues on. And we're advisory, so we provide advisory opinion, it can continue, it will continue to move forward at both the council level. I mean, if the council, the city council member, they have a say in this, as well, and then it goes back to DOT. So our, just it's informational, just to let everyone know that we have a certain time period, and in order to meet the DOT review period, we have to comment by the 15th of December.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I would like to see it denied outright tonight, and ask them to reapply in the new year, so we can see what the 311 shows.
How much is it to apply?
I mean, it's not a big fee.
It's not a big fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just still want to have that. I'm trying, well,
Okay.
what I'm trying to do is, I see that, I don't really want them to have to pay another fee, I just don't, even if it's not a particularly large one, is it minimal, like a $30 thing or a $500 thing?
It's not 500, I could find out.
All right. As you find that out, so
I think it's 1,050.
You're all celebrating when this Assad regime fell in Syria. There were police out there, they were all peaceful.
Okay.
1,050 is
1,050
1,000? No, that's not fair.
is required for a 4-year license term for a
Yeah.
sidewalk cafe.
Yeah,
I think the motion on the floor is I think the best step forward. Like I want to see like proactive action and a good plan. So I think it really hinges on that, like what's going to change, what's going to be updated. Like obviously, if next time we have this meeting in December and one of our committee members is walking by and still sees an open can, like that just cannot happen, right? Like small things like that really implicate what you guys will be doing with this.
So the motion on the floor is a motion to postpone,
Yes.
and it was seconded.
Yes.
So we're still having
And
discussion.
then I move to amend to add until say December 10th.
Okay.
With the holidays.
I don't know if that's, I don't know, what day is that? I don't want it on the weekend.
Wait till next year.
Well, we're going to schedule this, we could certainly schedule another meeting in December.
Yeah, we'll schedule in early December, most likely the week of the 8th, one of those days within
Yeah,
that week.
December 10th is a Wednesday.
Okay, and what?
Oh, wait, we have a Parks Committee meeting on December 10th. So, Jack and I, we could go over the calendar. I think the 9th and the 11th are available.
Okay, do they know, do the applicants know now what they have to address?
Well, we didn't vote yet.
If we did it,
Okay.
they would have to address.
All right, so the question was to the applicant. Would you be willing to perhaps meet with Department of Sanitation and the Business Improvement District to review trash storage, measures at your establishment, improving, trash storage, both commercial, on the commercial end?
Correct. And then have a follow-up of this after those meetings on the 15th or whatever.
Is that okay with Al Sham? Is that okay with you?
والله انت الجمعيات تعمل مخابرة مع تعاون البزنس امبروفمنت في بيرج والديبارتمنت اوف سانيتيشن مشان تحسن هذا. غير عن هيك راح يعملوا لك دينايل.
اوكي
ف
خليه محمد يروح انا مسافر.
yes, they are willing to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
Jack.
All in favor of that motion on the floor, please raise your hand.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Any
in
other-
favor? Opposed?
Any
Alright.
opposed?
Just one opposed.
That's everybody. So, okay, cool.
Okay,
Motion
so
passes.
we'll be in touch with you. The office will be in touch, just Al Sham, when that meeting is scheduled. And also reach out to you with the Department of Sanitation and Business Improvement District contacts, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we're celebrating the side regimes on the phone. These were out there too.
Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm going back to the PowerPoint. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, IBX comments. You know what, I'm going to show the IBX presentation that was provided to us, so we could recap before we start our discussion. Okay. Oh. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay. So the environmental review process has started for the Interborough, the IBX. The main objectives of SECRA: scoping process and drafting scoping documents, scoping meetings, and fall open houses. So on October 15th, we kicked off the environmental review process under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. This process allows us to consider the environmental effects of IBX, evaluate reasonable alternatives, and identify measures to mitigate significant adverse environmental effects. MTA is the lead agency and made a preliminary determination that the proposed action is a Type 1 action under SECRA. An environmental impact statement will be prepared. So we are at the scoping and public scoping meetings step in the process. That's step 1 here in the environmental review process. The next step would be the draft environmental impact statement, which also has a public hearings portion, and then the final environmental impact statement. So at this step, the goal is to determine the scope and issues of concern that would be analyzed in the draft environmental impact statement. So what is scoping? Scoping is a process to develop written document scope that outlines the topics and analyses of potential environmental impacts that will be addressed in the EIS. The purpose of scoping is to ensure public participation in the EIS process, to encourage open discussion of issues of public concern, and to permit inclusion of relevant substantive public issues in a final written scope document. So the draft scoping document contents the background history, purpose and need statement, alternatives, an environmental analysis framework, and scope agency coordination. So in this deck, there is the document. I don't know if I could get it up here. I probably can't. It's not working, but I'll just go on to the next. So the technical resources to be evaluated, and there's a long, lengthy list: land use, zoning, and public policy, community facilities and services, transportation, socioeconomic conditions, open space, visual and aesthetic resources, historic and cultural resources, air quality and greenhouse gas emissions, noise and vibration, energy, contaminated materials, natural resources, coastal zone consistency, safety, and environmental justice. Everything, yeah. So there were a few scoping meetings. They were held, one was in Brooklyn on October 29th, a Queens one on November 6th, and there was a virtual scoping meeting on November 12th, which I attended. And public comments can be provided in a few ways. One is to speak at a scoping meeting, to leave a comment in the comment box, to email comments to the IBX outreach, to submit comments online at this at mta.info/IBX. There's a mailing address. But comments on the draft scoping documents must be received by November 26th to be considered in the final scoping document. And I just wanted to also share a second board. I'm sorry, give me one second. Technical. Why is it not coming up?
You might just need to press escape and then.
Yeah, I'm stopping share and now I'm going back in. Okay, yeah, so here is scoping. Scoping is an early and open process. This was an explanation within the documents just to the MTA stressed that we should just, take a look at this just to understand what scoping is. The input received during scoping will help to identify the depth and breadth of environmental analyses to be completed. It will also serve to identify and eliminate from further study the issues that are not important or have been covered by prior studies. And it consists of the following key steps. To invite involved and interested agencies, again, connect previous planning decisions with the current project development, to address agency and stakeholder comments on the draft scoping document, and include responses to determine the scope and issues of concern to be analyzed in the DEIS. So we also, I did attend the November 12th, and there were some comments from residents in Board 10 that I wanted to also share with board members. Let's see.
I'm looking at it. Yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
Oh,
so very-
I don't know why it's not working, but primarily the concerns were from the Bay Ridge Towers, vibration and noise. That was, definitely a concern. There was also mention of, could there be additional stops along the way, connecting from the Army terminus, perhaps all the way up to Fort Hamilton Parkway, along that road, there was like 3 stops. That was a comment that was raised. And I know that Larry Stelter attended the November 20th meeting, and he submitted some comments. I'm going to try to pull those up, Jack, if that's okay.
Yep.
I could do it on that. Yes.
And what Jack, what is it that we're trying to accomplish tonight? Are we supposed to come to some consensus on specific comments or what's
Yeah, so basically, the comments for this section, the scoping part of it, is due Wednesday. And so I would like for us, and obviously we wouldn't be able to get it approved by the general board, but Joseph, you mentioned that what we can do is submit the comment on behalf of the THC committee to be approved by the general board next month. And so I was hoping at the very least we can summarize the comments have already been made by the community at the very minimum, and additional comments that we may have that we agree upon in this meeting, and really put put forward like CB10's voice to that, as opposed to have individual like residents comment, you know?
Yeah. We could really even put all the comments together and forward it to
Precisely.
IBX. These are the comments that
Yeah,
we've received.
That strengthens it all,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I'm so sorry, Larry. Let me see if I could. I don't know why I'm
Might
having,
I read them out loud? Because as I said, it was a well-attended meeting. Like I say, the MDA people are there, all the staff members from IDS. They did indicate one important thing is that they said that Governor Hochul has allocated at least half the construction funds in the 2025, 2020 on MDA capital plan. So this isn't just a pipe dream, it's, plan. It's just.
Yeah, she's behind.
So we have the comments by Wednesday. Told the extra, we're gonna have comments.
Did you have any specific concerns?
Well, I had some comments, suggestions, but I'll list the highlights that if you haven't seen the brochure yet, you have it there. 14 subway lines, 50 bus routes. They originally want to have a IBX street running in Queens and Metropolitan Avenue. That has been changed. They're going to run the trains in the tunnel, existing tunnel. There was a proposed IBX station at Atlantic Avenue, East New York, that's been moved so it's easier links to the AC, J, L, and Z trains, subways, and the Long Island Railroad in East New York. And one attendee suggested an IBX station in the Long Island Railroad, Wheatfield Junction, which would connect with the Long Island Railroad, Port Washington Branch, and the Long Island Railroad main line, at Penn Station, Jamaica, and points further east. And I have some more specific comments.
Yeah, were there any concerns about the portion that's in our district?
Well, that's why
Yeah.
tried to
Just
confirm
before-
myself more. Okay, I'll read
Yeah,
them
just
out.
before you go into, I wanted to add one thing, which is that the moving of the street running decreases the end-to-end runtime from 39 minutes to 32 minutes. So that's a pretty substantial change in time that I noticed from a separate presentation.
We know traffic is like that's keep these trains off the streets. That's what we can do. But alternatively, I thought the current plan that has a western terminal at the Brooklyn Army Terminal. It's on the map. You see it goes directly into the terminal. I suggest that we motion for a short extension to the ferry terminal at 58th Street. I mean, we're talking about maybe 500 feet at most. Extend the track. You might have to have a grade crossing at First Avenue, but still. This is, we're in the age of intermodal transportation. It's said to be the future of transportation. The 58th Street terminal ferry is at the ferry. IBX riders may embark on ferries to Staten Island, New Jersey, Red Hook, Brooklyn Heights, and Manhattan. So just imagine that.
Well, that makes sense to me.
There, it's just so mine.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I saw Larry's comments. I wish I could have it on the,
No, I think that's those are reasonable comments.
Okay. If you review the plans, IBX, they have a proposed transit station at Fourth Avenue with the R train subway indicated. Now this would be a complicated problematic interchange. It would necessitate either a 4-block corridor under Fourth Avenue to the north end of at 86th Street of the Bay Ridge Avenue station of the R subway, or a 5-block corridor under Fourth Avenue at the south end of at 60th Street of the 59th Street station of the N&R subway. As an alternative, consider a station or stations at 3rd, 4th, and 5th Avenue, which will permit transfer to the B37, B9, and B63 MTA bus routes. There is also, of course, the plan also calls for in the district. There is a station at 8th Avenue and at 61st and 62nd Street. That's where the entrance terminus. That's a very busy station. That will be a station on the IBX. So that's in our district. But as far as looking at the plans that they had for the R train at 4th Avenue, they're gonna have to work that out a little further. You see what I mean? It's just not easy to walk. Either you can get off the 4th Avenue walk.
So I guess we would say that one of our comments is we would like them to study the feasibility of direct connections to the New York City
Fourth-
ferry at Brooklyn Army Terminal and
The
subway lines on Fourth Avenue.
Reconsider that, or just make that a bus connection.
Yeah.
So there already is gonna be a connection, the N train at the Eighth Avenue. And you know, that's a very busy station. And now, and another, on the other end of the line, I thought the proposed terminal, the northern end is gonna be Jackson Heights, Queens. And the design to provide for a two-block corridor on the Roosevelt Avenue to the EFMR and 7 subway station at Roosevelt Avenue, Broadway and 74th Street. I was saying, why should they add a line in there? IBX offers a opportunity to provide rail transit to LaGuardia Airport by extending a modern concrete viaduct along the Brooklyn Queens Expressway east St. Michael Cemetery and the Grand Central Parkway. Now, airports in other cities such as Cleveland, Philadelphia, both Chicago airports have direct rail transportation to their respective airports. Now, why not New York?
I agree,
We could make this.
but it's outside of our district.
Yes, the other end of the line.
Yeah, but we can still,
The other end of
we
the
can-
line, we can always make that suggestion.
yeah, we can still suggest things outside of our district. It's about the IBX project overall, so that's a good suggestion.
Yes,
I agree
absolutely.
with that. I'm a little confused, Larry, about your like R train suggestion. Like, I feel like connecting to the R train would be pretty important for us.
It would be good, but it's gonna be, you're gonna have people walking under Fourth Avenue, you know, four blocks in either direction. Either they get off and start walking all that plus
And-
60th
and-
Street or go down.
Yeah,
the
but
other
that's
side.
up to them, Larry.
Right, they don't
Do
have,
we
they don't
want-
have to, they don't
They
have
don't
to.
have to, but
They can. It's a
Yeah, but
free-
then-
if it's a free transfer to Bay Ridge Ave.
That's
or
exactly the
59,
point, is that they don't have to,
Doesn't have to.
but they can. I mean, I would be more than happy to do it, maybe some people.
build a tunnel or have a,
I think that's, I
Have a
don't think,
walking
I
transfer,
don't
you
think
do
a
that.
tunnel's needed. People can walk. It's only 3 blocks. Sorry.
So
And
I
if-
was able to get it
As
back.
far as your question for the Eighth Avenue line, if we move that station to Fourth Hamilton Parkway.
no, Eighth Avenue is.
But,
fine.
You said Eighth Avenue is too crowded.
No, no, it is, that's why it's within the ideal location.
That's why I'm thinking maybe Fourth Hamilton.
It's a
might be easier.
major, you know, there is a
We
significant
have
mode of
three.
usage, there we are.
Yeah, go for it.
That actually was a suggestion at one of the public hearings that I had, was to, well, someone said to add Fort Hamilton Parkway stop.
We're just all 3.
Or have all
Parkway
3.
alone.
I mean, it was something that was asked to be looked at by a resident. Also, a Bay Ridge resident felt there should be a study of emissions and air quality, which I think is part of it. It impacts as part of this project, especially in the area in and around the Bay Ridge Towers in our district. So I thought that was important because, you know, there are 800 families there. And several residents testify that there should be greater notification in multiple languages about the IBX, because they feel many communities in the environmental justice area, especially in the northern area along, are non-English speaking, and they would like to see more outreach in those communities. And I thought that was a good suggestion. And and
Vibrations.
I did mention the vibrations,
But
yes.
there is the freight train. The freight trains are gonna continue to roll on the same with the IBX. That's one of the
They make a
joys
lot more
about
noise than the light
using
rail.
this light rail
If
trains
it's
is that
similar to the Jersey City light rail, they
Yes.
don't make any noise at all.
Right.
Summer.
East
But
San
then, like,
Diego,
San
Oh, that's fair.
the light rail line runs, and at night the freight trains run. And then people
Okay,
have
Jack.
vibrations, but then get.
I think we have them all. I think we have all of the comments out there now, pretty much, unless anyone else has
Well,
more.
Did you put in the
Yeah.
thing about the hearing? Yes.
Extend to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other comment, honestly, I think the only other comment I would have, which is probably pretty realistic, is, you know, asking them to consider free transfers, free out of system transfers to the subway, right? So you know, they're probably not gonna build a tunnel from the Bay Ridge, the Fourth
Right.
Avenue
Well, they-
station,
Right.
but they could
Right.
certainly put in a free
But
transfer.
I
it's
can't,
so
I still
blatant.
can't figure out why it's not under the same system. I keep looking at it and saying,
plan-
why doesn't it? I mean, it would just seem to make sense.
Well, the presentation, they said it
Yeah.
says R train at Fourth Avenue. I mean, that's pretty obvious, you know, that's, as I said, out of the system, or you have to walk, as I just said.
But I'm not even arguing about that. I'm just saying, like, it just seems to me that they should just be integrated as one thing.
Call this X train. how's that?
Yeah.
That's a
Make
great idea.
suggestion, we'll call it the X train, how's that?
There you go.
No, you can call it whatever you want.
Right.
I'm just saying to you, I'm just saying,
so
I'm still trying to
That's one
understand.
specific
Yeah.
comment I'd like to add, is a
Got
free
it.
out
Out
of
of
system
system
transfer
transfer.
to the R train at
Okay.
Fifth Avenue.
Make it
Very
easier
specific, yeah.
than.
But why wouldn't you have it?
Let's
I
not
mean,
limit it to the arbor.
But I'm
Well,
saying,
right,
why wouldn't you
limited,
have
yes.
free in-system? That's what I'm trying to say.
Free in-system
Transfer.
transfers
Eighth
too.
Avenue is an example.
I'm still trying, I still have not gotten it through my thick skull as to why we have a perfectly good MTA. Okay, and now we're putting in a separate thing. I
The
mean.
MTA is building this.
The MTA
Well,
is building
the MTA is building it, but this is, I don't see this as, for example, they're not advertising as an expansion of the subway. And they're saying, well, it's
New
not.
technology, that's.
Well, it could be new technology, but I don't see
Different-
why.
new, it's different technology.
I would like to see people, I'd like to see this personally as being like, this is something that it's not completely separate, because it feels to me like it's a completely separate thing.
Yeah, I fully agree, right? I mean, even the current subways are already on two different
Oh, yeah.
gauges, right? It's, it's already two different
How about
systems,
that?
right? But still, people, it's one system. So I fully agree with that comment there.
We'll call it that. I'll send another suggestion, call it X-train. then.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not only
Yeah,
getting into
any-
things.
Yeah, I think we should definitely add that as a comment. Any other potential comments to add?
Probably about.
Dino?
Probably about 1,000.
Fair will be the same.
We're going through the fair,
Yeah,
right?
I'm just kind of curious about any like,
Yeah, it's not that far. It's basically like across the parking lot.
I'm sorry.
It's like 200 feet probably.
I know, it's hard to balance this. If Dino has the floor, we'll talk about the mountain. Dino, go ahead.
I'm curious about any like rezoning and development that will occur inevitably along the IBX. I think it's pretty safe to assume that there's going to be a lot of displacement and gentrification that's going to happen. And if this project is working with other city agencies to help prevent that, or basically avoid any like crazy like displacement from residents that would otherwise benefit from this.
Right.
Yeah, I think the scoping document that Josephine shared earlier already has at least land use, zoning, public policy, socioeconomic conditions, historic cultural resources, like those aspects within that. I think if you have specific areas of concern within CB10 or outside CB10, I think it would be good to identify like very specific characteristics. But overall comment, I think also makes a lot of sense. Okay, I think I saw Jane Marie first and then Chris after. So Jane Marie.
Yeah, I just time and again, I would really want to be able to bring in the residents from the towers. They have had so many issues regarding the vibrations and environmental factors that they're concerned with, given the structure that's already below their building, that this then presents another layer, and bringing them in and putting them at the forefront of our meetings and are concerned really would help to represent our community.
Right. Maybe I'd be aware of the sergeant affairs.
Chris? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a comment, like I agree with Dino, I mean, I'm hoping that all of this fits into larger, city and urban planning, community development. We'll see. I don't think a lot of players are really necessarily changing in the game, in that we'll see a lot of the same players that have been in prior administrations still working in this administration. But like anything, the more the transportation increases in an accessible way like this, gentrification is always going to be, the negative impacts of it are always going to kind of like be a possibility as a result of that. And what will likely happen is the city will bring to bear to continue affordability, the funding that supports low-income individuals. Whether that's going to be good for the city or not remains to be seen. But I mean, I think with all of this, the more desirable and accessible the city is, the more people who are going to flock to our neighborhoods. So, but it's a really good point that Dino brings that up, because that's kind of, the way it all the pieces fall in place. It's what we always have to be aware of in terms of making access to opportunities available to people, and keeping the city affordable. So I just like the comment.
One comment. I remember just on add to that. I remember one of the earliest meetings they had. They mentioned that this connects like a lot of minority communities together. Like if you just literally look at a map, like it's just community after community of underserved like transit deserts basically together, right? Connecting them together. So that's a very important aspect. Okay, I think I saw Dino and then Stephanie right after.
Basically that it's going through like the remaining like affordable
Yes.
quote unquote affordable neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Those aren't going to exist after this project. So if the city doesn't take steps to prevent that from happening, then it's just going to turn into everything else, the way everything else has come, you know? And also, yeah, it's underserved communities, a lot of transit deserts. So just because, you know, they're finally going to have access to public transit, fast, rapid transit, you know, their property values are going to skyrocket, rents are going to skyrocket, and they're going to have to move and then, you know, likely move into another area that's, you know, that doesn't have those resources.
Thank you, Dino. Stephanie.
Yeah, not to be redundant, but I had gone to the Hochul's press conference on this IBX around 14th Avenue, and you've hit the nail on the head. There is no discussion about what happens after the IBX. The conversation, as Dino mentioned and Chris, it is about serving these underserved communities, more economically depressed areas, to give them the opportunity to access better jobs, better opportunities. But in agreement, there'll be burgeoning businesses and opportunities there, and it will change the landscape. And I think with all of the new zoning, without the zoning restrictions that we'd had, there will be quite a bit of change. And that is something that I don't know how we address that now without seeing how this all plays out, but it is good to notice.
Yeah, I guess basically within the zoning angle, I guess what I'm hearing is questions on the second, third order, like ramifications of potential zoning changes that might need to happen in and around the corridor. Very important consideration.
Yeah, I mean, I think that especially in the areas in our district are areas that we know are going to be ripe for future development, significant future development. I mean, right now we have a 28-story building without rental protections that is going to be going up at 6200 8th Avenue. There's a lot in the M district. There was a lot of zoning changes. I mean, again, to Dino's point, I think it's important that we do mention that because that should be looked at, you know, absolutely as part of the scoping and environmental. I like that. So we'll add that.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a motion for the committee / district office, maybe mostly, hopefully, Josephine, thank you, to summarize the comments that we've received both offline that has been discussed, as well as comments made during this meeting, to submit a draft version of that effectively on Wednesday to the IBX constructors, and then for us to review at the general board meeting next month.
Okay, so Jack,
we're going to submit it to IBX already?
So the scoping comments are due on November 26th, and as we've done in the past, we can forward those as submitted by the Traffic and Transportation Committee to the IBX, noting in the letter that they will be reviewed and adopted by the full board at its December 15th general board meeting. Okay, got it. So we need a second to Jack's motion. Romeo?
Well, I just want to understand one thing. That would mean, though, that changes can be made to this, to our committee, just like anything else.
Yeah.
At the full board meeting.
Okay, we'll submit it. Okay. Okay, we have a second. Jack Romeo Petrick seconded. So
any additional discussion? Okay. All right. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Okay.
That's everybody.
That's everybody. Okay. All right. So next item on the agenda. So we were notified by the New York City Council that there are 3 intros relating to outdoor dining, and Jack asked me to put some quick information just to explain it. There was a hearing today. I did not listen to it yet. These were just newly introduced, so there's still some work, but I just wanted to share what they are to the committee. New York City Council intro number 1421 was introduced by City Council member Lincoln Ressler and is currently in committee. The bill would allow for retail food establishments to apply for sidewalk cafe licenses, remove restrictions preventing roadway cafes from operating year-round, allow for establishments with less than 20 feet of frontage to expand their roadway cafe to the roadway in front of an abutting property, subject to the consent of the commissioner and property owner, and streamline the review process. As part of the streamlining process, the intro specifically states that the community board shall not require applicants to supply the board with additional written materials other than the initial petition and any modifications to the petition. So that's the first intro. The second intro is intro 1444. This was introduced by Keith Powers and is currently in committee. The bill would limit the requirement for sidewalk cafes to leave a clear path on the sidewalk in front of them with no more than 8 feet in width. The current law requires different clearances based on where the sidewalk cafes is located, with restaurants on global corridors requiring at least 12 feet of space. This bill would return the requirement back to pre-pandemic sidewalk cafe requirements, which required at least 8 feet of space regardless of location. This intro would not directly impact CB10 as there are no global or regional corridors within the district, and 8 feet is currently the requirement for all businesses within CB10. So that's this one. And the third one is intro 1446, and this was also introduced by Councilmember Lincoln Ressler, currently in committee. The bill would require DOT to issue and receive applications at physical locations as well as online. It would also allow applicants to save partially completed online applications and return to them later, which I hear is a complaint from some restaurants that you can't currently do that online. According to the intro, the physical locations shall be facilities operated by New York City DOT or the Department of Small Business Services. So those are the three intros. I did ask, I didn't listen to the meeting today, but they are preliminary, meaning they were just introduced. I don't have a timeline yet of if and when they will be moved forward out of committee. So those are the three.
How would that?
When in general do we like submit comments or anything of the like?
So my understanding is that today was the first meeting. There typically are follow-up meetings with an opportunity to comment or at least submit comments. We can always submit written comments up to a few days after the meeting. We could do that today preliminarily. We could, wait and see what happens with them. We can make no comment. It's pretty much open-ended.
If the first bill were adopted, how would that change our process with the written materials? Like, what would the actual impact of that be?
So, two things. One is I think that if there was an existing business that's less than 20 feet, I can't think of one off the top of my head that is less than 20 feet, and they wanted to expand, that expansion, from what I'm understanding, would happen kind of automatically. If it's already approved and has been to the community board, they do not have to provide any additional written materials to the board. The other big thing about this one, I think, is the operating of roadway cafes year-round.
Yeah, that gets helpful.
And after this was announced, we did get a call from some of the disabled in action community people in the district who fought really hard for the current rules. And they did have concerns about some of the changes to this. And I thought, too, that we really haven't surveyed our restaurants, because there were a lot more that participated in the pandemic outdoor dining program that are participating now. And just anecdotally and just casually speaking to some, a lot of our restaurants did it because that was the only way they could survive. And some just don't have the staffing to provide that additional occupancy, both, whether it's sidewalk or roadway. They don't have to. But I think in this intro, there are some perhaps in Manhattan that feel differently, that they would like to see it year round. I don't know if that's the case here in District 10, that there are any, we have, I think, 2 or 3 roadway cafe that are, here in CB10. So I don't truly know the impact. I do know that it was a concern year round because they weren't really used for dining in the colder weather. They were used for storage or just not used. So it seemed to make sense, the original bill. This would be a change to that.
But sorry to ask, just to clarify one more thing. How would the application process change? The first one said that we're not allowed to ask for additional written materials other than the petition.
Right.
How would that change our process?
The intro specifically says the community board should not require applicants to supply the board with additional written materials other than the initial petition. I'm not sure, Staley, how I read this was that if there was changes to an expansion, we would still get the initial application, and those that have applied that are licensed, that this would apply to those that want to expand what they have from their initial application. I could be wrong, but that's how I read.
That's right, as applying to all applications, including new applications.
That could, that could be. I could have read it wrong. I could get clarification on that. I don't know. They were just introduced. It's going to be a brand new city council in January. My thinking process is we'd probably know more by the time of our next meeting in December, so I can ask for an update for our next December meeting. So we could get all those questions. That we have to clarify that. That's a good point.
That's very
ready. We read it
different like 4 times.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Chris, you have your hand raised.
Committee was this? I'm just curious that this legislation was.
This was a committee of the Transportation Committee of the New York City Council.
Okay. And what was the impetus behind the introduction of the legislation? Was there a petition directly received in Lincoln's district, or I'm just curious. I like you. I'm just
I didn't really take a deep dive. The council was nice to notify us, so I thought we should share that information. I think those are good questions, and I will share the link to the meeting to everyone. I guess we should all watch it and get some more info on it. Yeah, before our next meeting, for sure.
Yeah.
I think to me, the second one, which is like the simplest one, I suppose, kind of clarifies a missing point, which is that like roadway cafes is a very clear like 8 feet rule, whereas sidewalk cafes is kind of like implied, but not necessarily like spelled out. So that's like one small one, I think. But the other two, I think, requires a lot more like discussion, I believe.
Agreed. Okay, so I will get that out to everyone. I'll try to find some articles and the meeting so we could share and be prepared for our next meeting. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop share.
Okay, so I think if there's anyone who disagrees with postponing this, please let me know now. Okay, we'll postpone to our December meeting for this section. Great. Do I hear a motion to adjourn for this meeting? Okay,
I actually have a couple of items.
Oh, okay.
Continuing some business from previous meeting, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah. Do you mind just very quickly going over exactly what you're going to go over, depending on like what that is? We may or may not want to discuss it during this time.
Exactly. This is what I propose discussing. So we had discussed at a previous meeting sending letters and a little reference card regarding valet parking. And so I have the letters drafted that we could see if they're what we want to do. And then we could decide if it's something that we have to like vote on, or if it's something we can just do as a committee.
I think we'd have to vote on it. And I think we'd have to put it on.
So we could put it on. We're going to be meeting in 2 weeks. Do you want to put it? Would you like to put it on that agenda? Yeah.
From a technical point of view, I think you have to put everybody on notice or something like that.
So that's one item. And then the second item is remember with Zavarian zoning variance, part of that is they're supposed to come and talk to us. So I also drafted a letter that just includes some points that we would like them to address. If we have time, it'd be great to just look at both of them. And if you guys want to make some changes, I can make some changes and we can look at them at the next meeting, just so you know we're on the right track.
Stephanie?
Is that being relegated to the Traffic and Transportation Committee? Anything about Zavarian, or is this I'm because it was introduced in zoning, it was discussed there, and I don't know if the timeline is with Zavarian, but if at the very least that should be a joint.
So, well, the right. Well, I mean that we could certainly discuss that. I mean, the resolution was just, I think, just generically saying that they should come to the board
Correct.
in some form with the traffic mitigation plan. So whether it's here or a joint committee. What I wanted to do was just present the points of kind of the broad points that we wanted them to hit on. So when we reach out to them, they have a little bit of a roadmap as to what we want them to talk about, regardless of what committee they come to actually speak with.
Are we bounded by any time constraints with regards to Zavarian?
No.
I think so. Okay. All right. Maybe Justin, we can discuss with Stephanie offline about exactly how we want to proceed with that. Most likely a joint committee may discuss that potential letter or joining the zoning meeting there.
All right, sounds good. We have a plan. Okay. Very good.
Cool. And then we can postpone
Okay.
and then we can postpone the Valley Parking discussion to the following meeting in early December.
I think it's a good idea.
All right.
All right.
Do we go back to our motion to adjourn? Wasn't resonating. I see.
All
All
right.
smiles. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Have a happy
Have a good
Thanksgiving,
night.
everybody.